TV Nihon presents a Tomodachi Brothers production. In the far-off year of 1985X, the war between the rampaging, rapping fruit ghosts has reached new height. Even the average person isn't safe. Now, Taro Notaro Tanaka, average beat cop, comes face to face with...
Hey! I'm the passing through Fuji Apple Fox, you heard? You want to fight my brethren and save the city? Huh? I'll take that as a yes. Here, wear this belt, but be warned, it only works if you scan the QR codes on these trading cards. Huh?
Change! Brontosaurus! Esophagus! Hippopotamus! Cha-cha-cha-cha!
As my grandmother liked to say, I now thirst for violence.
How very hard-boiled.
No fear, no pain. I'm doing something in the background. No fear.
Greetings, everyone. This is the Hipster Snek brought today with my good buddy, Ditaku.
I am dying. I am now going to join the undead now, Snek.
That's not till Kamen Rider Blade. Yes, as we promised in the previous episode, today we'll be talking about the tokusatsu franchise known as Kamen Rider. One good turn deserves another. We already did UltraMan. Today, Kamen Rider. For those of you who, for some reason, know that my channel exists and yet don't know what Kamen Rider is, comment down below, how did this series of events happen? In 1971, there was a strange little man named Ishinomori. And they were like, hey, we need to make our own superhero franchise, and it will be super cool. And Ishinomori was like,
"Well, you're not. Basically, they approached Shotaro Ishinomori because he was the intellect and the guy behind the massive property that was Cyborg 009.
Right.
And so, what did the guy do? He go, superhero. Wonder what I could do with that.
So he set to work, and what he made was, well, not Kamen Rider, because he made a superhero with a skull motif. And Toei was like, wait, this is...
That is way too dark.
This is super dark and kind of implied. This is supposed to be a superhero? And Ishinomori's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This seems pretty heroic to me. And they're like, no. Like, heroic for, like, little boys. Like, the UltraMan demographic. Like, the demographic that UltraMan has held since...
Talking about this seems pretty on brand for me.
For Ishinomori, yes, actually.
I mean, and yeah, if you actually look at his work at that period and you're like, gee, why is Kamen Rider Sheen, like, from the 90s, like, hyper violent and he's, like, cutting people in half and, like, turning into a biological monster? That's why. That's what Skullman would have been like,
yeah,
actually.
So, he was like, okay, I'll tone it down. In return, we're going to go with a theme of insects. And the producers are like, but insects are weak. Like, you smash them. They're small and dumb and weak. And he's like, no, hear me out. If I don't get my skull, I will instead raise you a grasshopper. And they're like, why? And it's like, first off, have you seen grasshoppers in nature? They're psychotic. They will kill things for fun. And their face...
Kill things for fun. Their face you can actually draw. It's actually extremely simple. And on top of that, the only reason why they're weak is because they're so small. If they were actually sized up to a human, they would be tremendously powerful.
Yep. and the face viewed from the front looks kind of like a skull, and so he would still kind of get his way. And Toei's like,
is kind of happy, which is the best type of compromise.
because no one's really happy, but no one's really salty about it either. So
Yes.
in 1971, the world was met, and by the world I mean just Japan, because we're only just now getting these things outside Japan officially, with Kamen Rider. The original series is, I believe, the longest Kamen Rider series at 98 episodes.
This is my hot take. This is going to be my first of many hot takes,
Sure.
Professor. Between Takeshi Hongo and I want to say, is it Joe Hideki?
No. Ichimonji Hayato.
Yes. Between those two, I prefer Takeshi Hongo, honestly. I find the darker, like almost like espionage aesthetic of that first season with him alone was actually really cool. Almost like Kasharin in a weird way, where it's like him just kind of like being incredibly forlorn, being like, will I ever know happiness?
Well,
and then, the motorcycle accident happened, and then Toei went, oh, thank God we can move in a different direction.
Well, okay, so yeah, that requires a little bit of clarification. So, modern tokusatsu actors are not allowed to do their out and in suit stunts. You do one or you do the other. That's all you get. So, this is because Takeshi Hongo's actor wiped out on a motorcycle stunt and broke his leg. And they're like, well, that's bad. We now get to explain why we don't have our main character. So,
as an aside, the guy who's a total G, he was doing like actual stunt work, and he was like a 3-time black belt in several martial arts.
Yep.
And I want to say he was also Segata Sanshiro.
Yeah, you recall correctly. Yes, he was Segata Sanshiro. And he kind of embraced the fact that he was like pretty much from Kamen Rider going forward typecast as the heroic type, but he kind of seemed to just lean into it. So the thing is, the first bit, I want to say there's 13 or 17 episodes that just focus on Hongo, are a little bit darker. And it's kind of like this spy fiction kind of setting with the evil organization Shocker. And hang on, Shocker's an acronym, but I can't remember what it stands for off the cuff.
TLDR, for those of you who are aware, it's Black Ghost again.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what it is. It's Black Ghost from Cyborg 009. It's a hyper-communist evil organization that's infiltrating all nations in order to bring them in under their supreme command.
Oh, it's the sacred hegemony of cycle kindred evolutional realm. Because that just rolls off the tongue. Am I right?
And that makes the evil underground hyper aliens from Black make all the more sense.
It kind of does.
Now that you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing is Shocker was going around and they were recruiting anyone they thought could be of use. If you were brilliant, or if you were a great athlete, or better yet, if you were both, they would kidnap you and convert you into a cyborg. And then they would brainwash you to do their bidding and to remove elements of society they deemed unworthy of continued existence, and so on and so forth. So they capture Hongo and convert him into the Grasshopper Kaijin. And he ultimately is able to escape and get the brainwashing undone. And he's like, you know what? Now that I have this great power, I'm going to turn it against Shocker and fight them on their own terms. This is a theme throughout Kamen Rider, where usually the hero's powers are either some kind of parallel to the villain's powers or some kind of permutation of them. So Hongo goes on his crusade, again up until his actor broke his leg. And they're like, crap, we gotta adjust. And so they had Ichimonji Hayato come in. And the thing is, his actor was a little bit younger, a little bit more, hip and with it. And the general tone of the series did change ever so slightly.
And the general consensus is that Kamen Rider 2, Hayato's Kamen Rider, is significantly more popular.
Yep.
Which I disagree with, but...
Well,
sure.
remember, that's because of demographics. This is kids watching these actors. And Hongo's portrayal of Kamen Rider 1 is a little bit darker. It's a little more forlorn. And he's like... He says something along the lines of... even if I cry, no one will know the difference because I always wear this mask. And like it is for that reason that I will continue to fight.
I always, I remember seeing something about this, the early production, and actually, apparently, there was an entire thing where, like, they ended a episode. I want to say it was not terribly long before that motorcycle crash, where it ended an episode with him playing with a puppy and him having this thing about, like, I need to, basically, I need to smile. Because if I don't smile, then I'm going to just break down and cry. And, as being the hero, for everyone, I cannot be seen, despairing. Yeah, Toei is literally like, what the hell is this? Why is he playing with a puppy? He's supposed to be cool and manly. And they're like, no. This is we're trying to make a comment here. But so apparently they overdubbed it, and like the entire point of the scene was like completely undone.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that sounds really, really cool and poignant. It was. As a writer, I'm like, man, that sounds really good.
Yeah, because like
they ruined it.
As I recall, Hongo like finds the puppy on the side of a road, and he's like, "Oh, are you as lonely as I am?" And he's like, you have the ability to cry, but I can't because I'm this pillar of strength now, and everyone's counting on me. And then, like, in the final version, there's just a narrator, and it's like, the Kamen Rider is truly a hero, and don't worry about the footage on screen right now. And I'm like, you guys shot yourselves in the foot with that one.
All right, now that we've talked about that, now I guess are we moving on to everybody's favorite character? Everybody's favorite character, Rider Man.
Well, Rider Man shows up a little bit later because actually, 98 episodes later, they switched to the next Rider, Kamen Rider V3.
Yes.
Yep, in 1973.
Hold on, a V3. Yep. Wait a second. I'm V3. Wait, hold on. I'm V3. Hold on. Are we all V3?
Wait a minute. Am I V3?
Oh, God.
So, V3 was the first
we laugh
sequel
because
series.
That actually is a thing. He does a lot of, like, sneaking into shocker bases. And
he does.
Like, surprise!
He does. And, like, I want you guys to remember this was the 70s, because, like, this explanation is going to sound super weird and super out of place. So, Shiro Kazami becomes V3. There is a terrorist organization that basically secedes where Shocker had collapsed. And the thing is, there's a little bit of contention as to what its name is, because of that. No, there's certain syllables that are awkwardly translated between Japanese and English. So, for many, many years, everyone believed that the name was Destron, as in, like, destruction. Seems like a lot of modern material coming out actually seems to indicate that its name was always meant to be the Deathtron. So
that's actually a thing in early Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, really?
Where a lot of zombie creatures were supposed to be like the death whatever.
Oh, okay.
But if you'll notice, like like they have the death camel, and they will translate it as the Des Lakuda, and you're like, this is clearly a zombie camel. Come on, guys. And it's like, because it says death in the name, and you know how Konami was about,
yeah,
how they still are about censoring Yu-Gi-Oh! So
oh no, certainly
that's not new, technically speaking.
No, that's been around since the first out of Japan releases of the cards. So the thing is, Destron, whatever, kills his family. His parents.
Deathtron sounds like something straight out of Coxsire.
I know, right? So they kill his parents and they kill his little sister. And like that's where like in his theme song there's this like really mournful bit where he's saying, "Oh mother, oh father, oh little sister," mourning them in this song about just how awesome V3 is. And
V3 is a total Chad too.
He is,
by the way.
He absolutely is. V3 is a great hero, and he just he is kind of like the mimetic badass among early writers, and I think he rightfully earns that station. And I'll tell you a fun one. Not only okay, I almost forgot this. This is kind of important. So, Kamen Rider 1 and 2 are still in continuity. So you're like, oh well, they team up all the time, right? I'm like, well, later in the series, the answer to that is yes. But in the early part of the series, Deathtron planted an atomic bomb in one of their bases. And Riders 1 and 2 were like, okay, this is bad. There's a timer on this thing. We got to get rid of it. So they're like, V3, you go fight Destron and their kaiju. We're going to carry this out into the Pacific Ocean as far as we can carry it before it detonates. So for a while, people thought that Riders 1 and 2 were just gone forever and that they wouldn't come back. Well, it turns out they can take an atomic bomb while they're carrying it in their hands. So that's your pre-death battle prep for when they get around to talking about Kamen Rider and why they will just win any fight hands down.
I mean, not gonna lie, let's put it this way. Tsukasa has pretty much the powers of all the Kamen Riders.
Yep.
And ZO has the powers of all the Kamen Riders again on top of that, and also has Decade's power, so
yep.
He has double all the Kamen Riders.
So that's kind of a play on a thing. In fact, I was actually about to bring that up, so it's funny you said that. Rider 1 is known as the Rider of Techniques. He was known because he had so many abilities and so many tricks up his sleeve that Shocker agents just couldn't predict him. And no matter how they tried to attack him, he would come up with some kind of counter. In fact, the reason the Kamen Riders' finishing techniques are what they are is because they were running on a very limited budget.
I was just going to say, as an aside to that, running on an we're not talking like a limited budget. We are talking like literally like, okay, all right, Tanaka, how much do we have for, the thing? You got 200 yen and some bubble gum. Oh, double from last week. So, I mean, these are cheap episodes. And so even coming from like 1960s, like the original 1966 Ultraman, you're like, oh my God, this is cheap. Like you'll notice like Apollo Geist when he shows up for the first time. This guy who's in many series. He's basically supposed to be like a living like mid-century Austrian double eagle, and the wings on the double eagle kind of flop around when I don't think they're supposed to do that.
No, probably not. So like for Ultraman,
this is significantly cheaper than anything that like Ultraman does. Just so you're aware.
Yes, and that was by necessity. They didn't have a choice. So with Ultraman, when he did his specium beam, they basically just painted the beam onto the footage. And that's how they created the effect. They didn't have the time and they didn't have the money for that. So they're like, oh, well, Kamen Rider's special finisher was a flying jump kick, because then it's something the actor can actually do. So they created, the Rider jump and the Rider kick, which was eventually accompanied by a punch and karate chop as well. And they're like, that's his thing.
Yeah, they did. He has a bunch of moves that are, some of them are just really, really silly, honestly.
Some of them are, yes. So, like, that's the thing. Rider 1 was the Rider of Techniques, and he knew every move there was to know. Rider 2 was the Rider of Power. Physically speaking, Rider 2 was the more sturdy cyborg. The trade-off was Hongo was likely more flexible in his thinking, but this made them very dangerous to fight at the same time, because as the double riders, then you have two men who are very dangerous in their own special ways, and they synergize super well.
Mhm.
So when V3 decided to put his powers to good use, they're like, oh, like through this upgrade, you'll inherit both. You'll have the techniques of Rider 1 and the power of Rider 2. So it becomes a thing where like every successive Kamen Rider like inherits all the qualities of the riders who came before them. So riders are basically like if the power scaling community for Dragon Ball put their head around how multiplicative that would become, yeah, riders scale really freaking high.
By the end of the Showa era, you are dealing with Black Sun and Shadow Moon, who both literally have the power of like cosmic forces, and they're like flying around, like destroying the cities with ease.
Yeah.
Which is probably the reason why Black RX literally is like, well, where do we go next? Space.
Into space, of course. So along the way, the anti-hero, turned hero, he kind of was a villain turned anti-hero, was Rider Man, who ends up becoming the fourth Kamen Rider. And honestly, I'm just going to say, I don't really care for Rider Man very much. He's just... I don't really care for his design. Maybe it was just a product of its time.
What are you talking about? He looks like Wish.com is like, oh, we have Kamen Rider at home.
Wish.com.
Why does he only have half a mask? That's all. We have Kamen Rider at home. That's just Dad wearing a mask. Hey, son, I'm Kamen Rider. I'm going to destroy Shocker.
Some tights.
Dad, what's that on your arm? This is my cyborg arm, son.
I got dipped in acid. So, yeah. That's the thing that happens. He loses his arm in acid, and they replace it with like this multi-tool, and they're just like, "There you go. That's good enough for you."
And oh, by the way, this is one of the funniest sections because literally the quote-unquote acid they have is literally just like boiling water.
Yeah,
and you can see that he's like, what are you going to do now? And they just like grab his arm and shove it into the water. He's like, melting. This is laughably bad acting, but it's so funny though.
It's still comical. It has that 70s charm, and there is something to be said for that for sure. So it's kind of your straightforward superhero story with one little twist, and this is a fun fact you may or may not have known, Ditaku. V3 did a crossover with another concurrent superhero show. Do you know what show it was?
Oh snap! Oh snap! Is this the emissary from hell?
It is. He crosses over with Spider-Man, the Toei created live-action Spider-Man series that was also running in Japan at the same time.
Yeah, the Spider-Man with a gun that all you Spider-Verse babies are always like, oh, remember the Spider-Man who had a gun? Like, yes,
a gun
yes,
and a robot. Yes,
he's the emissary of hell, guys. You don't want to talk about that, huh? Because you want to talk about your really crappy, badly animated... Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. They're badly animated. I don't understand why you guys like it. The animation is so jerky and weird. Ugh.
So, yes, V3 crosses over with Spider-Man. So, by law of transitive property and the Saint Elsewhere problem, Kamen Riders have some fresh blood in the Marvel Universe. So that's something.
You know what that means?
What's that?
Kamen Rider. Well, I mean, I suppose ultimately that you know what that means is that Spider-Man, the Ultra Brothers, and the Kamen Riders can team up in order to fight, Belial, Shocker.
It's technically happened. The Great Battle series of games explored that avenue with the added caveat that they also team up with a bunch of Gundam pilots. So that's something.
Oh, they're Neo Zeon Belial.
Yes. So.
Oh my.
Yeah, that is a thing. That series is still ongoing. I think the name has changed, but the thing that started as the Great Battle still is around, near as I can tell.
No, I remember having played a fair few of them with you. They were
something.
A lot of them were not good.
Some of them were okay. Some of them were not. So, in 1974, we get Kamen Rider X. We meet Keisuke Jin, who becomes the aquatic-themed Kamen Rider X. And
Is he the one who fights the government of darkness?
yes, he fights God, the government of darkness.
This is the guy who fights the starfish mid-century Austrian.
Yep. You see, several of the original kaiju were based on Greek myth. And as time went on, they're like, oh, well, we'll do various animals crossed with various historical figures. So that is where the memes about Starfish Hitler come from. Because that's a real thing. We didn't make this up. This is real.
Look on YouTube. It's true. Not only is it true, he's actually one of the better, the suit for him is actually fairly good.
Oh no, it is.
I feel bad for Apollo Geist because you look at him in the Heisei era, or even in Kamen Rider the First and Kamen Rider the Next. I want to say he looks significantly better. But in the original Showa era, it's oh man, you're supposed to be this threatening hyper cyborg who's stronger than Kamen Rider, and you're hey guys, look at my chest, look at it, flopper.
Apollo Geist was not in the first. I forget about the next because I've only watched the next once. We'll get to that
I
later.
know he was in Decade, and I want to say he was in Zeo too.
That checks out. So Kamen Rider X, the whole thing was he was supposed to be the Kamen Rider who could fight underwater. Was his big thing. They mostly did that by kind of just putting a bluish filter over fight scenes. It's it kind of works. It kind of works
because the suits couldn't actually go underwater.
Yeah,
that was unfortunately, because it was lost to time, we actually had a pretty, nuanced conversation about the construction of Kamen Rider suits.
Yep.
And how basically the reason why X was so important was because, and later, I want to say in the Heisei era, when they actually produced better quality suits that could actually go underwater. Was it Hibiki that had a bunch of fights in the water?
Yes, starting from Hibiki, they used a different material, and I forget the name of it, but it was a more lightweight material that also had a really shiny surface, which is why the Oni and Hibiki look so shiny. And it allowed Ibuki in particular to have some underwater fights, which would also be something that they revisit in Kamen Riders Kabuto and Den-O. So that is pretty neat. And the thing is, the real danger is the actors in these suits can barely see. There was a behind the scenes thing they did alongside Kamen Rider Decade, and they're oh, well, how much do you think the suit actors wearing these masks can actually see? And they're oh, well, they have these huge bug eyes, so obviously they should be able to see most of the way around their head. And they're nope. It's this tiny little slit that's directly in front of their nose. And that's all they get to have.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, they're backflipping and jumping around and doing very complex, combat sequences. These guys aren't paid enough.
No, they aren't.
And a lot of them are just doing it for the, for the love of the game, as it were.
A lot of them are long-timers, people who were working with the suit actors in Decade and Double were the same people who were doing stuff in Ryuki and Faiz. So they've been at it a while. And speaking of, in 1974 we get the shortest Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider Amazon. So Amazon's...
I am Kamen Rider X. I am Amazon.
No, you're not, Skyrider. You're drunk. Go home.
I can be Amazon.
You're not.
That's the dawn. I can traumatize small children.
Yeah, see, that is the problem. Is Amazon? From what I've read, it seems like Ishinomori did want to take the direction of the series in a bit more of an adult direction. So Amazon was by design more violent. They kind of use this shaving
more violent.
His special attack was not a rider kick, it was the Daisetsudan, which is a huge karate chop that could literally cut dinosaurs in half. And they used
in Kamen Rider Spirits. That's exactly what he does.
And it's amazing, by the way. Amazon, or Daisuke Yamamoto, grows up with an Amazon tribe. And even though he's Japanese, they explain that he basically had a Tarzan moment where like a plane crashed and they found the baby and he grew up in the Amazon. His tribe was attacked by the organization Golgos. And the elder of the tribe gave him, I want to say it was the armlet of Gigi, and that allowed him to transform into Amazon. He is the first non-cyborg Kamen Rider, and again, the first not to use a belt, and it's the first Kamen Rider series to not have previous riders appear in it. Because it only ran for, I want to say 24 episodes, because parents groups got really, really mad. Because they used some red food dye and shaving cream for monster blood. And apparently it gave children in 1974 to 1975 nightmares.
Which is funny because at that same time, I want to say it was Kamen Rider Ace? Which is also hyper-violent.
UltraMan Ace.
UltraMan Ace, yes. Which I want to say was also hyper-violent.
Ace had quite the body count. Like there was a lot.
Yeah, because that's the reason why Taro was like considered "quote-unquote" kid-friendly, even though it was also really violent.
Well, a lot of shows back then were more violent, but like, yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah, Amazon got cut short, which is a shame because honestly, it's really good. I liked it. I thought it was really fun, and in Spirits, you actually learn a lot about Daisuke, and he does the whole Hulk speak thing because, like, raised in the jungle. But like, you
what are you
actually
talking about? He says one of his favorite words is the most bestest word.
Oh yes,
his favorite word,
Tomodachi. Yep, and Daisuke.
Not that we would know anything about that.
Nope. Daisuke is a good boy. Amazon deserved way more love than it got. But next, it was followed up by Kamen Rider Stronger. So,
dear Kamen Rider Stronger, how do you type with top boxing gloves on your hands? Oh, you.
So, Shigeru Joe, this dude is such an alpha that he walks up to Shocker Replacement of the Year, Black Satan. That's literally what they're called. Knowing full well they murdered his best friend and his mentor. So
to ask yourself is like, you gotta wonder like how the HR department for Black Satan is when you're like, they're like, so why do you want to work for Black Satan? I just feel like I want to like torture and kidnap people. Who are you? You're hired. This guy, I like his attitude.
Yep. So Shigeru Joe literally just walks in and is like, I want to join you. Sign me up. Make me a cyborg. And they just go, yeah, okay. I see nothing that could go wrong. So they turn him. Yes, he literally does that. He has them turn him into a cyborg specifically so he can break free prior to the brainwashing and take his revenge on Black Satan for killing his friend. And so he becomes the Rhinoceros Beetle Fiend, a Kamen Rider Stronger. And
okay. All right, so I have to ask though. All right. This is my query for you, Professor. Since you're a professor, you would obviously know this. Is Electric Tackle a Kamen Rider?
Okay, so
this is important because Electric Tackle is Stronger's sidekick.
Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle. She is a cyborg who underwent the same procedure as any Kamen Rider has up to this point.
TLDR, she's a ladybug. She is literally, much like all the others are like, grasshoppers or rhinoceros beetles, she is a ladybug. That's literally it.
Yeah. The only exception thus far is Amazon, who's like an anglerfish reptile creature. But again, Amazon was the exception in many, many ways. So, yeah.
Not gonna lie, for a long time I thought Amazon was actually a dinosaur, but
an understandable mistake given the shape of his head.
Shrug.
Yeah. So, okay, here's the thing. Electric Tackle fights a kaiju whose specialty is putting out this absolutely deadly AF poison. And Stronger's like, crap, I can't get close to her. All my abilities involve me getting close, because, like, I'm a melee fighter. And Tackle sacrifices herself, slams into this Kaijin, and blows them both up. And officially speaking, according to Toei, Electric Tackle is not a Kamen Rider. Why? Because she has two X chromosomes. Basics. It was the 70s. The same thing happened in Kamen Rider. Ultraman Ace. I'm doing it now. In Ultraman Ace, there was Minato and Shinami, and they were supposed to fuse together to become Ace. And the whole thing was they had to work together to be Ace. And then midway through the series, there are people who didn't like that there was a female hero, and then Hokuto became the only pilot for Ace, even though the theme song never got changed. So, like, it literally says both their names.
I mean, not for nothing, but there already was a female Ultra at that point, but, you know.
Well, yeah, Mother of Ultra, but she wasn't, like, a main character. But, yeah, there was a big stink, and Minami got sidelined as, like, some Moon Princess retcon. And so what they did to Electric Tackle was very much the same. And
the irony being is that there's been at least 4 female Kamen Riders up to this point that I'm aware of.
After the Showa era, yes, there have been a number of them.
There's Kibala, there's Tsukiyomi.
The first user of Delta was a woman.
Yeah.
There were several in Hibiki.
Let's say, wasn't Delta literally like, who has used Delta?
Delta is the village bicycle. Yeah, Delta got passed around a lot. So, like, the thing is, the only piece of Kamen Rider media that has tried to tackle that question, so to speak, was Kamen Rider Spirits. And there's a bit where Stronger is fighting the remnants of Black Satan in the battlefield where Electric Tackle died. And they kind of start making fun of him and like, oh, you know, why don't you call out for your partner? Oh, wait, she's dead. And Stronger's response is, she's not a Kamen Rider, because to be a Kamen Rider is to suffer eternally. You will be obligated to fight the forces of evil forever. You will never know rest. But she is at peace now, and she will never have to fight again. And I'm like, okay, this is like the one explanation they've managed to come up with in 50 years that I think is even remotely respectful.
Just because we brought it up a whole bunch and we haven't really, like, actually explained, Kamen Rider Spirits is a manga, by the way.
Oh, yes.
It's a manga that happened significantly after all these series actually aired. I want to say it was in the early aughts that this all came together.
Yes. So, we're going to get to him in a minute, but let me explain that there was a crossover movie called Kamen Rider Z-Cross. And it was supposed to be a big celebration of the Showa-era Kamen Riders up to that point, because Z-Cross would have been the 10th Kamen Rider. And it was just kind of a short movie. It wasn't really much of anything. Z-Cross himself wasn't all that interesting. Kamen Rider Spirits was an attempt to retell the story of Z-Cross in a bigger, more satisfying way. And Spirits is really good. You should read it.
Oh, it is. It is absolutely fantastic. And they have, like, chapters basically dedicated to each one of the guys up to this point.
Yep.
And they really do a good job, like, kind of explaining who they are, even to the point that, like, a complete, you know, noob to a lot of the stuff up to this point, like myself, was like, oh, I kind of get what's going on. Okay, yep. okay, I see who these guys are.
Yep. So
also, you know, Amazon slices through a dinosaur.
Through a dinosaur! What more do you need? So, here's the thing. Kamen Rider Stronger ran and ended in 1975, and then it went off the air. Kamen Rider as a whole was off the air for the next 4 years. There wasn't another one until 1979. So, at that point, they're like, hey, what if we reboot the series? So the next series that came out was, for a time, just called Kamen Rider. But while it was a sort of reboot, it ultimately not was a reboot at all, because there was the organization Neo Shocker, who wanted to pick up where these past organizations had failed. And Hiroshi Tsukuba, Tsukuba, I'm not sure how you say that, Tsukuba, I think, was kidnapped and turned into a rider who had a gravity system built into his belt, allowing him to fly. So he was like the flying Kamen Rider.
Sky Rider?
Yep. Later, he met the previous Kamen Riders, and Stronger gave him the nickname Sky Rider. And that was their way of differentiating him from making this super, super confusing.
Oh, don't worry. It's going to get super confusing already because, I mean, if you want to, we have Z Cross already, but don't worry. We're going to have 0-1, and then we have ZO, which is completely different.
And then we have
0-1.
ZO, which is ZI-O. This is going to get confusing really fast. So, next is Kamen Rider Super 1, which is... Kamen Rider Super 1 is a little bit controversial now because of some real-life happenstances, but I've always been of the opinion that you need to be able to divorce art from author.
Was this the astronaut one?
Yes, he was a special Kamen Rider. Well, he was both meant to be a modified astronaut who could survive in space without benefit of a spacesuit. And it was supposed to be like the new frontier for science, basically. And Kazuya Oki becomes Kamen Rider Super 1. And the whole thing was he got attacked by the Dogma Empire. And everyone he knew and loved was killed. The trauma set him back, such that he couldn't transform until a little bit in where he meets a kung fu master who starts teaching him martial arts. And by doing that, he regains his confidence and is able to resummon his transformed state. That is why Super 1 has one of the more elaborate henshin poses of the Showa era. And the whole thing was his gloves could change into different modes, mostly elemental affinities, that allow him to attack in different ways. Like his red hand shot fire, and his blue hand could freeze things, and his yellow hand could electrocute stuff.
Oh, is he the one that he actually had to, like, connect his mouth bit?
No.
When he transformed?
A couple writers have done that, but Super 1 was not one of them. In fact, Super 1 actually was not even a grasshopper. He was based on a wasp. So, fun trivia. Then, in 1984, 3 years later, they did Kamen Rider Z Cross, which again was a short movie. The Badan Empire shows up, brainwashes and cyberizes a Ryo Murasame, who becomes Kamen Rider Z Cross. He's saved by his 9 predecessors, and Super 1 kind of does all the heavy lifting in the movie. So, like, just read Kamen Rider Spirits. It's much better. So, skip forward a couple of years to 1987, where we get...
Oh, boy.
Kamen Rider Black.
Not Black RX, that's later.
RX was the next year.
Yes.
Black fights the cult known as Gorgom or Golgom, depending on how you want to translate that LR problem. And the stepbrothers, Kotaro Minami...
I think the official translation is the Cult of Golgom.
Yeah. So they're stepbrothers, Kotaro Minami and Nobuhiko Akizuki. And they undergo intensive surgery by the cult to become the next Creation King. Kotaro escapes, and Nobuhiko does not. So
ultimately, what it is that the entire thing was basically set up by their quote-unquote father, who is effectively like the will of all life on the earth, the king of the Golgom, whose entire thing is that he is a 300,000-year-old creature who basically rules all life on the planet, but his life is ending, and they have to do this fight to the death in order to effectively allow one of them to ascend to the throne.
Yep. Because they were implanted with the Kingstone, as I recall, which is what gave them their powers, turning them into Kamen Rider Black and Shadow Moon.
It makes more sense when you realize that it's supposed to be Black Sun, Shadow Moon. Yes. Yep. And so the entire thing with that is that effectively Golgom is setting Black up to be basically a sacrifice so that Shadow Moon can just easily win. And the entire thing is them like creating situations where they have plausible deniability so that technically speaking, Shadow Moon will win, but it's because Black is going to be like, hog-tied and, got amnesia, and he's also poisoned, and he's also got a stomach ache, and he's, also like late for work, and all these other ridiculous situations that they proceed to put him in.
Yep.
But it's just the problem being is that Black is like just so gosh darn good at everything that, he is able to overcome all the ridiculousness.
Yeah, basically. And the funny thing is, Kamen Rider Black was actually supposed to be an episode for the podcast season 2. That episode doesn't exist anymore.
It was, actually. Cog requested it specifically because it's apparently one of his favorite out of all the series. He is actually way more interested in. I think he was the reason why we both know about it.
Yep, basically, he actually saw because we can talk about this. So, Kamen Rider Black had a sequel series the very next year, Kamen Rider Black RX. RX was like, okay, Black was a little bit intense, kind of gave kids nightmares.
You also have to understand. All right, TLDR. The ending of the series basically ends with Black and Shadow Moon basically having like cosmic god powers. They basically fight each other to a standstill. The Golgom King's there. He's like, you two are taking too long. I'm just going to kill Black and then you can just take my place. And then Black goes, no, without a fall guy, kills him, ascends to the throne, goes, this is stupid, and then immediately gets thrown into space effectively.
Yes, he gets launched into space and he's found by this alien fleet known as the Crisis Empire. He refuses to join them. They jettison him. And because he's bathed in the light of the sun, he basically form changes into Black RX. He does not become a pharmacist. That's just what they call him. And Black RX introduced two things that are very noteworthy. The first being permanent form changes. By that I mean Stronger had a supercharged state where his armor turned silver, but that was a temporary power-up that he could only use for a short window of time. Black RX would end up getting full-on mode changes, which would change how he fights in battle. Black RX...
Are you saying that... Oh, I was about to say, it's like... Wow, okay, because I want to say, like, UltraMan actually was doing that for... But I think this is actually before UltraMan started doing that.
Yeah. UltraMan would not start having, like, form changes and the such until Tiga. And that was, 2000, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kamen Rider did it first, with that respect. And the thing is, Black was a little intense. There was a lot of killing, there was a lot of dying, it was a little bit darker. You could kind of tell by latter day episodes, they kind of wanted to ease up on the tone. There was like a little more comedy, it's a little more slapstick. They're trying to add a little more levity. RX was like, okay, you know what? We're just gonna like dial it really back. We're gonna it's gonna be a little more funny. It's gonna be a little more lighthearted, but we're still gonna kind of focus on, RX being super cool and good at everything. So
let's put it this way: when he returns in Decade, there literally is a bit where the actor who plays Minami comes back and then does a double henshin where literally it's Black and Black RX simultaneously.
Yes.
And they all get to, fight bad guys all at the same time. And it's one of the coolest episodes of Decade.
Oh, it's very good. And the song that accompanies it, Millions of Me, is really, really good, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometime in the 90s, this thing happened. You might know of it. It's called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And Saban wanted to capture lightning in a bottle twice. So they got the rights to Kamen Rider Black RX. They made Saban's Masked Rider, which is something that Toei specifically asked them to not do. They said, don't translate it. It is Kamen Rider. His name is Kamen Rider. Please keep it. Kamen Rider. Saban, not generally being a very good person, was like, lol, no, it's Saban's Masked Rider, and my name comes first, because that is how Saban do. And
What are you talking about? It's based off of Saban's Power Rangers, even though it literally has nothing to do with Power Rangers.
yeah, so the Saban's Masked Rider. How do I describe this? Imagine
They took a character whose entire thing was mysticism. Literally, he was basically empowered by this ancient artifact, and made him into a weird alien, like fish person. I want to say.
no, he was a bug person. They were bugs. So
Oh.
there was a Power Ranger crossover episode as a stealth pilot for Saban's Masked Rider, where Alpha 5 turns out to know some people on this distant alien planet called Edenoi. And they're undergoing a civil war because the brother of the king, I believe it was, because he was like the main character's uncle, caused a civil war. And so they send the Power Rangers to assist the quote-unquote Masked Rider. And the thing is, I believe it was like a 2-part special, and it was actually one of the better episodes of Power Rangers. It was actually pretty cool. Then, Saban's Masked Rider was not cool, because they immediately ditch Edenoi, and the whole thing is, Count Dragon is sending his armada against Earth because reason, and Dex...
Oh, is that what they call General Jark?
Yeah, he was Count Dragon, I believe, and he had...
It literally is General Jack, and they call him
Dragon.
Yeah. Okay.
So he goes to Earth, and the thing is, Dex, the main character, is adopted by this family that is so... How do I describe this? Imagine the Burger King Kids Club grew up and had a family unit that was every bit as politically correct as the Burger King Kids Club. And my God, I just dated myself with that sentence, didn't I?
I mean, I immediately understood what you were saying, and I honestly was thinking about that myself. I'm like, literally, his family is like a 90s McDonald's ad.
It is. Like,
yeah.
everyone's a different, ethnicity and has, like, these really quirky, eccentric tastes to try to appeal to every single person who could possibly be watching TV at prime time.
They're all wacky, but they all love each other, and they're all in the same household, and it's wacky!
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. So,
Oh, and you're forgetting the best character.
Yes, of course. How could I possibly forget the timeless masterpiece that is Furbus?
Now, if you're wondering what this is, imagine, if you will, a Furby, but about 4 feet tall and about as creepy.
So imagine a Furby digivolved to the rookie level. That's Furbus.
Yeah.
And they make him the quirky, silly alien mascot character. He sure is gonna sell tons of toys. And the thing is, they make it worse. Because, like, you guys know what, early Saban acting sounded like. They took martial artists and tried to train them to be actors rather than the other way around. And,
And you mean it only worked, like, 20% of the time?
Yeah. Dex's actor in the Power Rangers episode was a little bit stiff. But the dude was trying. You could tell he was, like, working with what he was given. I don't blame the actors at all, because Saban is terrible, and I have no doubt that they had to deal with a lot of crap for what they went through. So, in Masked Rider, the thing is, Dex apparently learns English by watching game shows on TV. So he talks like the world's most annoying game show host the entire series.
To be fair, honestly, I mean, I have heard of people learning English through, like, things like Breaking Bad.
Oh, no, certainly.
Literally, I hear about things like Japanese VTubers who are like, yeah, I just watched, like, Breaking Bad and, like, Better Call Saul, and that's how I learned English.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Dex could already speak fine. Like, in the Power Rangers episode, they're talking in plain English and they're fine. But, like, he has this really annoying, overemphasizing kind of way of talking. Like, it's worse than Saban acting. And the thing is, they actually adapt the episode of Black RX where the other writers show up. You want to talk about a head scratcher? They legit had to reframe some footage from RX where he's talking to the other writers, and they had to get the actor a coat that looked like Minami's coat from Black RX. And it's so stiff. And, like, they're trying really hard, like, oh, well, we'll kind of, like, keep some of the names, but we'll change some other names.
From what I gather, because it seems like as soon as they hit, like, I want to say, was it Super 1? Because it seems like they're like, they were correct up until,
they got up to X, and the thing is, like, they're supposed to be introducing themselves, and they're introducing themselves in chronological order, but in the scene, not all of the writers are present. So it rapidly spirals out of control because no one thought that the guy with a huge S on his chest might not be Masked Rider X. So you have this very infamous scene. You can look it up on YouTube when you're done listening to our podcast, of this guy trying his best to sound kind of monstrous, going, "I am Amazon!" And it's Skyrider saying it.
I have to wonder if there still is the old YouTube poop of,
Oh God, I hope so.
I am Amazon.
God, I hope so. That series is so bad, but it's so bad I can't really recommend watching
all
it.
right, I'm gonna have to look this up now.
Okay.
I hope that it's still there.
You verify. You verify.
That's right
I
up
need
there
to.
With yeah, that's some OG classic YouTube poops.
Oh,
right there.
it absolutely is. So I'm going to speed through these next ones because the only things that came out in the 90s were some movies. In 1992, we got Kamen Rider Sheen Prologue. It was the 20th anniversary of Kamen Rider, and they tried to make the designs look more like the original Ishinomori drawings. So he turns, like, rather than being a cyborg with, like, armor, he turns into a huge grasshopper monster. He actually shows up again in Kamen Rider Forze, and it's actually really funny when he does. He's largely forgotten, especially now that there is a Sheen Kamen Rider, not to be confused with Kamen Rider Sheen. We'll get to that. So, 1993, they really wanted to rip off Terminator, so we got Kamen Rider Zeo. Now, I will say Zeo is really good. I actually enjoyed Zeo. And the whole thing is they're trying to make this artificial ultimate life form thing, and it's threatening to basically consume the world. And Zeo fights against it and kills it. That's the movie. Next, Kamen Rider J in 1994. Kind of the same as Zeo. Honestly, their suits are very, very, very similar. If you saw Zeo and J side by side, you'd be forgiven for mixing them up. J fights against these weird alien monsters that want to eat the Earth. He is given what is called the Holy J power by this grasshopper named Barry. And for some reason, Jay is able to absorb one of the aliens' power and turns giant-sized. So he was the first Kamen Rider to grow gigantic.
His moveset in the fighting games is always very interesting.
It is. They have to kind of... they always have to work in the giant size thing, which is funny because that wasn't actually part of the Holy J power. That was just like a thing he absorbed from the monsters, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen that film, but I'm reasonably confident in my assessment. So, we have to skip ahead a few years.
Sorry, Professor.
Oh,
it looks like it's lost to the time. But you know what is still there?
What's that?
Space Marines! We have failed! We have failed! We have failed!
You know,
the Emperor.
As long as we have something.
Yes.
So, we get into the Heisei era, circa 2000, with Kamen Rider Kuga, or as the Hong Kong subtitles refer to him, Kamen Rider Cool Guy.
Kamen Rider Cool Guy.
Cool
no
guy.
fear, no pain.
Yusuke Godai finds a magical artifact. He turns into Kuga to battle the Grongi. And the whole thing is there's like this hidden relationship between the Kuga belt and the Grongi. It's good. I haven't seen Kuga all the way through, but it's good. I recommend it. Definitely check it out. He's the first Stag Beetle Kamen Rider. So
He's
cool.
also the first post Ishinomori, because he passed away in like 1996.
Yep.
Honestly, you look at it and like pretty much all of it, his fingerprints are all over Kuga.
Oh,
it's
definitely.
a lot darker than pretty much any other Heisei series up or after. And the explanation they have for the way the Kuga belt works, it's basically a biomechanical synthesis device, TLDR.
Yep.
I mean, that's all I'm going to go into because it's kind of a huge, like, oh, what a twist when they actually explain what it does.
Yep.
It's really, it is really good. Although, honestly, I think I prefer Agito, but that's, we're about to talk about Agito.
Agito comes up next, actually. It was the first Kamen Rider series to have more than one main Kamen Rider since the very first series. Shuichi Sugami is an amnesiac who fights against the unknown as Agito. And along the way, he meets Kamen Riders G3 and Gills. And they blow up God. So, good times.
Because God comes down, goes, what the heck's going on here? Where are all my Grongi? And they're like, oh.
About that.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, so next up is Kamen Rider Ryuki. And there's a lot to talk about here, so I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I possibly can. This guy named Shinji Kido, he's a reporter. People are disappearing, and he's trying to find out why. Along the time, he learns about the mirror world and ends up finding a contract deck where he creates a contract with a mirror monster, which are the creatures that live in the mirror world and are actually like eating people, like legit reaching out into our world and eating people. So the contract is, I will give you my power. The monster gives the rider their power. In return, the rider kills other monsters, and the monster gets to eat the leftovers of the monsters that they kill. And if the rider fails to pony up, then the monster gets to eat the rider.
You're forgetting the best part. If they encounter other users of decks, they get to kill and eat them too.
Yep. Other riders are fair game. There's 12 of them, and the last rider standing is to be granted a single perfect wish. Now, there's two interesting things to talk about here, because Ryuki got two different remakes. You guys probably, if you're fans of my channel, you probably actually know of both already, but let's go ahead and touch on them. They did an anime.
Are you referring about...
they did an anime
with Dragon Knight.
Well, Dragon Knight came later, technically speaking, so let's put a pin in that for just a minute. The first remake was an anime with a gender-swapped cast. Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, they did a shot-for-shot remake of Ryuki as a magical girl series, Mabuka Babuka.
He's referring to Puella Madoka Magica. If anyone doesn't understand him rolling his eyes, making a very lewd gesture, and
guys, it's just Kamen Rider Ryuki again. It's scene for scene Kamen Rider Ryuki again. I don't know what to tell you people, but you're like, oh my god, it's so groundbreaking and original. It's Kamen Rider Ryuki. It's the same thing.
What it is it's a bunch of people who have never actually seen any special magical girl outside of Sailor Moon, and not even like actual Sailor Moon. I'm talking like the ocean dub or not the Deke dub of Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
So they don't have the bits where Sailor Moon actually goes back in time and has to like heal herself in order to effectively produce a time loop that produces her daughter, so then both of them can like do the one-handed Kamehameha against death itself.
in order to save the universe, or the parts where they literally are like, oh, there's the enemy. The enemy literally has the powers of like the stillness of death. What if we let her win? Okay, but then she'll kill us. No, it's okay. We have the Dragon Balls. I mean, the Silver Crystal. We can just resurrect ourselves. Well, when you put it like that, and so they don't understand that, magical girls have been super dark pretty much since the beginning.
Yes.
It's not like new or original, but they're like, oh, it's so dark and thoughtful. So it's
Ryuki.
Really
it was literally Ryuki, like shot for shot. Like every moment you guys were like, oh, it's so shocking and amazing and revolutionary. It was taken straight from Kamen Rider Ryuki.
The funny thing is everyone's favorite character, and that is literally the most lame character in Ryuki. He's the
Scissors.
The crappy crab.
He's the crab Kamen Rider, and yeah, literally dies exactly the same way. So, that's lame. So let's talk about something good, which was Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Adnus Entertainment attempted to adapt a Kamen Rider. In fact, they actually wanted to do Blade. But apparently because...
Oh, boy.
Dude, like...
Oh, boy.
Like, the thing is, Ryuki has more riders. There are 13 riders in Ryuki. So it's more toyetic. There's more stuff to work with. And one of them was a woman. So, like, boom, there you go. Like, instant marketability.
They also significantly toned down the literal actual serial killer.
The literal sadist. Murdering, yes. Now I know.
No. The snake, which was a literal serial killer.
Yeah. I think their explanation for that was that there was like two different users, because like Ryuki doesn't really touch on it, but like Dragon Knight has a huge theme where they're in the mirror world. There used to be people, and then this weird alien entity known as Zaviax showed up, and he's basically the Lord Zed of the hour, except he's actually like kind of cool.
Can I just say too that the way that Ryuki is, where and the way they translate to Dragon Knight, they inadvertently basically do a for kids Yu-Gi-Oh, where like in the original was bad, but the translated version, in order to circumvent things, is way worse.
Kind of worse.
Because like when they talk about final venting people, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, you final vent someone and then they're just gone. They can't go the afterlife. Nope. But they're not alive either. They're basically just like stuck in limbo for all eternity.
Yep. Okay, so here's the thing. The main character is a guy named Kit. And Kit gets a dream from he hears a message in a dream from his missing father telling him to seek out the dragon. He finds the contract the same way that Shinji did, and he becomes Dragon Knight. And he learns from Wing Knight that there used to be a team of riders in the mirror world protecting the people of the mirror world. Zaviax showed up and screwed all that up. And so when a rider dies, quote unquote dies, they instead get vented. And for the first half of the series, they don't really explain what that is. Just that Wing Knight explains, once it happens, you're not dead. You're still alive, but you're basically permanently imprisoned where no one can help you anymore. At the, I will say, towards the end of the series, they do explain that venting was supposed to be a safety mechanism. And the idea was, if a rider was injured in the line of duty, they could be instantly teleported to a safe place where they can rest up, and then they can be released later by someone who had the alternative deck. And the thing is, in the start of Dragon Knight, in the start of Dragon Knight, there was no alternative deck. So the prison was unlockable. So what should have been a safety net became like a living hellscape for them. Which, yeah, the more you think on it, the more messed up it kind of becomes. Mm-hmm. So that was acknowledged in universe. This was not a Shadow Realm situation where 4Kids attempting to soften it actually makes it worse in a way. It was kind of acknowledged that, yeah, that is messed up, but that was by design.
Okay, well, I'm just, yeah, they're trying to not be yeah, my main character is murdering people. I mean, sending them to Brazil. Yeah.
I mean, if Brazil was a healing pod from Dragon Ball, then yeah, maybe. I will say,
And you're stuck there for all eternity.
Yeah, so like, Dragon Knight was a little bit controversial. Like, fans were kind of split down the middle as whether they liked it or didn't like it. I liked it. I thought it was great. Honestly, this is going to be my hot take for the episode. I liked Dragon Knight a bit more than I liked Ryuki. I liked Ryuki.
Cog is going to have words to say on that one. I actually really liked Ryuki.
I liked Ryuki. I liked Ryuki. I liked Dragon Knight a little bit more. It felt a little bit better organized, and it didn't rely on that cheap ass pull ending that Ryuki and its other remake use. So, shrug. Next was Kamen Rider 555, or Kamen Rider 5.
I was not aware that, Ryuki had a character who was in Lesbians with him, but okay.
I mean, that depends on perspective, I guess. So, Kamen Rider 5. You want to talk about a series with a high body count? Oh, boy. So, there is a permutation of humanity called the Orphanok. And the Orphanok are people who have died, but suddenly just get back up again.
This is one of those ones this is actually the bit of Heisei that honestly I have difficulty telling apart. I can tell the writers apart, but there's a lot of at this point there's a lot of I'm Kamen Rider killing you guy. I'm Kamen Rider Shadow Kill. Let's fight now because we're in Battle Royale.
There's a bit of that, and I think that is a fair complaint to levy. After Agito...
But it's Faiz, Ryuki, Blade, they're all like this, though.
No, there's a lot of that. In fact, it's not until Blade that starts getting toned down. But we'll get to that. So, the Orphanok, once they come back to life, they basically, the way they explain it is kind of weird. They're it was an evolution in the human genome that humanity as a whole wasn't ready for. And even their own bodies weren't ready for it, because Orphanok have a particular strain in their blood known as Orphanok DNA. And the longer they use their Orphanok powers, the faster their body burns through it. When it burns out, you crumble into ashes, and there's no coming back. You're just done. So the thing is, this organization called Smart Brain decides, hey, Orphanoks are kind of neat. Why don't we use them to our advantage? So they create the 3 rider belts. Those being Faiz, Kaiza, and Delta. And the unwitting hero of our story, Takumi Inui, gets the Faiz belt. And the thing with the Faiz belt is it's the best balanced belt, and it's also the one that you can use without burning your Orphanok DNA. The others, Kaiza is out and out the most powerful in terms of raw power output, but it's very straightforward. Delta is the weird one because it's psychoactively addictive, and it basically lets you use weird BS Orphanok magic.
So Delta it's a Gaia memory then.
Yeah, and both using Kaiza and Delta slowly just melts your body away until you just break down and there's nothing left. Delta, in particular, goes through 4 or 5 owners before the series is over with. And
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I understand now why Decay completely rewrote this bit when they were doing the bit for Faiz, because they made it basically a high school.
Yeah.
With the entire thing being that it's Smart Brain High School. This is an elite prep school, and you have to they had to get the best test scores of the entire thing. The problem being is that all 3 of the main characters are kind of dumb.
That's kind of true in the original series as well. The whole thing is Kamen Rider Faiz is the world's worst game of telephone. Because there's basically 3 groups. There's Takumi's group, which is him hanging out with his 2 human BFFs who he's tsundere for. There's a group of Orphanok who are hiding out and trying to pretend that they're not Orphanok when they know that they are, led by the horse Orphanok. And then there's Smart Brain. And Smart Brain's like, oh, well, we made these belts and we weren't really looking to just hand them out like candy, but that's kind of what ultimately happened. And now we're stuck in this awkward position where we kind of need our corporate property back, but we're not going to do that without killing some people. So why don't we pit these other groups against each other and have them do the dirty work for us?
You know, I just realized something.
What's that?
This is literally bio-boosted armor Guyver's plot. This is, yeah, it's literally that, except that, you know, the entire thing is that the Guyvers don't cause you to break down.
Right. Yeah.
If anything, it's actually the opposite. It boosts, hence why it's called the booster armor.
Right.
Bio-booster armor.
So, yeah, being an Orphanok is suffering because just like, if you don't do anything, you die. If you do anything, you die. If you use the belts, you're probably gonna die.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. You could be undead. Hey!
I mean...
Or rather, Blade!
I was about to say, yes, let's scoot on up in the next year to Kamen Rider Blade. And the whole thing is there's this mysterious organization known as BOARD. BOARD. B-O-A-R-D, yes. Which is the Board of Archaeological Research and Development. So yes, board starts with the word board, because of course it does.
To understand recursion, you must understand recursion.
Of course. So it turns out there is a collection of 52 undead creatures, and every 10,000 years they enter into the Battle Royale. The thing with the Battle Royale is it is specifically set to determine who the dominant species of the Earth is going to be. So, Board is like, oh crap, we unwittingly started a Battle Royale well before the next one should have even happened. Because the last winner of the Battle Royale was the Two of Hearts, which is human undead. And so human undead guided humanity until they became the dominant race, and he was sealed away back into the deck. So... the whole thing was like, Board's like, oh crap, now that we've released them, we gotta reseal them. So they create the rider system using the Ace of Spades. And the Ace of Spades becomes Kamen Rider Blade. And then there's a lot of issues. Like, Fives was the worst, game of telephone. Blade is more just a matter of Board is really bad at handing out memos to their employees to keep them in the loop as to what's happening. So, the main character is Kazuma Kinzaki, who becomes Blade. And along the way, the Ace of Diamonds shows up as Kamen Rider Garen. And there's an immediate issue where a misunderstanding causes them to turn on each other. And like the entire time, the undead are killing people, because that's what undead do. And, oh yeah, by the way, you can't kill undead. They're undead. So the best you can do is seal them back into their card. And so... there's a Joker. And wouldn't you know it, the Joker is really powerful. And more than that, the one thing in a Battle Royale that must not happen is the Joker winning. Because everyone dies. Joker winning in a Battle Royale is rocks fall, everyone dies. So, Joker is actually besieged by two other undead, the Ace of Hearts and the Two of Hearts. And the Two of Hearts, human undead, gives up his life willingly to Joker to use him. When you have an undead's card, you can use it in the rider system, and doing so lets you copy powers and attributes of that undead. So human undead lets himself get sealed on purpose, and the Joker uses the Two of Hearts and gains humanity. And he's like, oh my god, what have I been doing this whole time? Like, I have actively been making things worse. What do I do? So he decides... Blade's right. I need to help reseal the undead and save humanity. And so he gets to become the Ace of Hearts. So chaos ensues. Blade is really good. I really, really, really like Blade.
I keep seeing this thing about the fact that the current Kamen Rider is basically the reason why he is the way he is because apparently he got traumatized as a small boy watching Blade.
Blade can be a little dark. If you were real little watching Blade, I could see that being kind of scary. So the next series is super weird. It's Kamen Rider Hibiki. And Hibiki was not supposed to be a Kamen Rider. Hibiki
Yes.
was an Ishinomori side project called Silent Strike Hibiki. And they're like, oh, hey, we just have this script laying around. Why don't we use it? Well, if it was a company that was more competent than Toei, Hibiki might have been one of the most legendary writers of them all. Instead, it became one of the most divisive. So, the deuteragonist Asamu Adachi ends up learning that the myths and legends of the world are real. The reason they exist is they are a collection of monsters collectively known as the Makamo. The Makamo they're the Oni, they're the demons, they're the chimeras, they're every monster in human myth ties back to the Makamo. And they are trying constantly to come back. There are these weird, inhuman entities known as the Prince and the Princess, and they go around seeding chaos, creating these Makamo. And for some reason, they're both unnatural and tied to the natural ecology of the world. It's like the reason why myths in Japan are the way they are is because that's just the type of Makamo that are cultivated in Japan. The way monsters are in Europe, the way they are, is because that's how Makamo in Europe are. That's the
I
explanation.
feel like this is a PG-13 Makai Knight Garo.
Kind of? You're not wrong. So, to counter the Makamo, there are the Oni.
Man, Garo is really good.
Garo is really good. That was another Season 2 episode we lost.
Yeah.
So there's the Oni. And the thing is, a human who trains can use these tools to become the Oni. And the Oni in Japanese myth, the large, powerful, muscular demons of Japanese myth. And the thing is, the Oni can harness a thing known as the true sound. The true sound is broken up into three particular types: percussive, wind, and string instruments. And this true sound is the only way you can kill a Makamo. So, Asamu accidentally learns about the Oni when he is saved by the main character, Hibiki, whose name is just Hibiki. That's it. That's all you get.
You don't get a last name? No.
Nope, he's just Hibiki.
I don't need one.
No,
Wow.
kind of true, actually. When you become an Oni, you dedicate your life to protecting humanity from that moment going forward. So you adopt an Oni name. When you do so, you basically just stop using your old civilian name. So Hibiki is known throughout the entire series as just Hibiki, and in some production notes, I believe he does have a civilian name, but I don't believe they use it throughout the series. Hibiki is really freaking good. I would say the first season in particular is unambiguously fantastic start to finish. The second season is where things got muddy, and a lot of it was because Toei couldn't let sleeping dogs lie. Hibiki had a very different storytelling angle from any other Kamen Rider to date. Asamu, being deuteragonist, was a high school student trying to kind of find his way in life. He wasn't really sure what he should do. He meets Hibiki, he thinks the Oni are super cool, and Hibiki's like, well, you know about our secret society now, so either, I have to just kind of take you under my wing and become your mentor, or I have to kill you, and that latter one requires manual labor, and I'm not a fan. So, Hibiki is, this really relaxed, chilled guy, and as I recall, up to that point, he was the oldest actor to play a Kamen Rider. And so he becomes this father figure to Asumu, who I believe was the child of a single mother. And there's a bit in the first season where it's implied that his mother is hot for Hibiki, but that doesn't really go anywhere. So shrug.
Oh, why?
So the thing is, oh god, I love this show so much. Hibiki.
You and Cog both.
Yes, Cog was like, dude, you have to watch it, and I did. I was like, oh my god, it's so good. He's like, I know, right? So,
Both Cog and the Snek, when pressed for their favorites in the original Season 2 episode, mentioned Hibiki, so...
Yes. So, Hibiki is a percussive Oni. He uses drumsticks. And like to demonstrate how his powers work, the first enemy they fight is a Bakagane, or a demon crab. And he hits it with like these fireballs that he can summon through the drumsticks, flips it on its back, sets a taiko drum on it, and just like drums it to death, and it explodes. And it's super cool. And like the thing is, throughout season 1, it's very personable. You learn about Asumu, you learn about Asumu's friends, you learn about like what his aspirations are, and then as the series is going along, you're learning about this greater lore, the Bakumo, the prince, the princess. Like there's all this mystery around it. And then remember how I said that pretty much from like Ryuki going forward, the instant another Kamen Rider shows up, they're a villain, or at least like some kind of anti-hero force? Hibiki's like, nope, not doing that. The second rider who shows up is Ibuki, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm Hibiki's friend. And I was blown away because I had I watched Ryuki, Faiz, and Blade in order. So like I knew, I was like, okay, the instant another rider shows up, they're gonna fight. And Ibuki shows up, and he's just like, nah, fam, it's cool. We're friends here. And I'm like, oh my god, they're friends. What do I do? They're friends. It's such a weird thing to harp on. What's that?
I said, guys, I'm scared. Please come get me. I don't know how to deal with friendship.
Yeah, they're like, the third Oni, Todoroki, shows up. And he's a nice guy too. I'm just like, oh my god, what is this show? So then season 2 happens.
Definitely not Makai Naigaro, that's for sure.
Yeah, seriously. So season 2 happens, and Toei...
We are going to seize at each other. Are we gonna fight? No. Okay.
All right then. Season 2
God,
happens.
I hate that guy so much.
that is Garo in a nutshell.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
No, it's like season 2 happens, and Toei says the words that no fan of a show want to hear, and that is, we're not selling enough toys. Rework the show. So, a lot of things go wrong in season 2. They stop filming in the mountains, for starters. There's a lot less nature shots, which Hibiki was kind of famous for. It's like, oh hey, like most other writers are like in these very select spots in Tokyo, and that's it.
You can kind of tell because there's like certain like construction sites or stone quarries. It kind of, the entire thing about like how people always joke about how Doctor Who is always like in a stone quarry or in a rock, formation. Yeah. It's pretty much exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like there's several locations. If you watch multiple writers, you will see certain locations throughout Tokyo time and time again. So Hibiki was like, oh, they were shooting in the mountains, and there's a fight with a bunch of Kappa Makamo, and they're like fighting by the river. And again, Hibiki was like one of the first series that had legit underwater battles, and like it was so different. And then they're like, yeah, we're not selling enough toys. It's not toyetic enough. So season 2 happens, and they start changing the mythos. They start messing with the lore, which I did not like. They do a lot of stupid things where, like, the whole thing, the entirety of season 1, even part of season 2, was like, there's the Makamo. They're masters of the prince and the princess. No one knows where the prince and princess come from. Like, there's a bit where Ibuki tries to pursue them, and they use, like, some kind of weird dark magic to paralyze him as they make their escape. And, like, we're not sure where they come from. We don't know how they're so powerful, but they have these ancient magics that even the oldest Oni on tap don't know about. It's all very cool and intriguing. Season 2 is like, oh, well, there's a prince and a princess that go around making princes and princesses. And I'm like, that's dumb. That's really dumb and contrived, and you definitely pulled that out of your butt at the last second in order to have a useless stinger.
Oh, hi, Toriyama. How are you doing today? Oh, man, they found me out.
That wouldn't even surprise me. They introduced this really obnoxious rival.
It would be Toriyama, because then it would be actually probably pretty funny.
That's true, actually. So, like, they introduced this annoying rival, and Asumu has to deal with this guy that's being a D-bag the entire time. And, like, they keep changing his backstory. Like, throughout season 2, they imply like that the rival is like, oh well, at one point he tries to like imply that Hibiki is his father, and then no, it's not his father. His father was a firefighter who died, and it might have been tied to a Makamo attack, but then again, it might not have been tied to a Makamo attack. They had no idea what they were doing throughout season 2, and like season 2 still has some good moments. There's a bit where Todoroki gets wounded, and he has this whole rehabilitation arc that is really, really, really heartfelt, and I loved that. But for the most part, season 2 was a mess. And as a result of season 2 being terrible and the ending of the series is rather lackluster, it ends up kind of going down as one of the most divisive and honestly one of the more hated Kamen Rider series. And it's such a shame because it started so well.
Meanwhile, Snek's thinking if anything should be hated, it's the next one.
No. That's saved for a few more yet. The next was Kamen Rider Kabuto, and oh my god!
Okay. I'm sorry, completely forgot. I thought that it was the next.
No.
I believe.
No. You're probably thinking 2 out.
No.
Actually, yeah. No. We'll get there in good time. Kamen Rider Kabuto is a comedy of errors, except that they forgot what the punchline was. So,
can I just say I love Kabuto's moveset. The idea of being able to move fast, but basically doing time stop, but like not nearly as like convoluted, is a really cool idea. And the way they use it in terms of their shots is, that is good stuff. Like the first fight where they fight in the middle of the rainstorm, and just like you could see the rainstorm, just the actual droplets of water just kind of go, and they just stop.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yes, it is. Kabuto went big on a special effects budget. So there is a meteor that hits Shibuya in 1999. From there, we get the worms. The worms are these alien monsters who want to replace native organisms, and they have the ability to perfectly mimic a person. But when they transform into a person, it's not just their appearance. They copy their personality and their memories when they do it, which is terrifying. So the thing is...
I'm going to laugh if that's not my neighbor. Ultimately, that's certain.
That would be something.
They are so perfectly mimicking people that they themselves think that they're actually the people.
That comes up a lot, actually. Identity and what makes a person come up a lot in Kabuto.
Well, you know what they say, as Grandma always said, it doesn't matter. If you're a worm, you're a worm.
Yep.
You squish all the same.
Yep. And the thing with the worms is they start off in a generic, like, default state. With they're dangerous, but they're not unmanageable. But when the worms molt into their adult form, it becomes a completely different discussion. Because the worms have a hyper-fast metabolism when they're in their adult state. And it allows them to move freakishly fast, way faster than a human could even hope of going. The organization Zect creates a weapon known as the Masked Rider System. And yes, in Japanese, they call it the Masked Rider System, because Kabuto was also the 35th anniversary of Kamen Rider. So, the Kabuto Zector, the Rhino Beetle, finds its way to one Soji Tendo. And Tendo basically just steals it. He doesn't really even talk to them because Tendo doesn't really have a personality. He's just kind of there. Which does appear to be what
the quote-unquote origin movie for him just raises more questions.
Yeah, Godspeed Love honestly just muddied the water on a series that already was nothing but muddy water. So the riders have two forms. They have their masked state, which is their heavily armored form, which is more optimal for fighting the worm in their unmolted state. And then they have their rider form, which is the more iconic form, which allows them to use the clock up system, allowing them to move at the same hyperspeeds as the worms. As Itaku said, it's basically like moving faster than light, or when time stopped, or however you wanted to describe it. But they do it in really clever and creative ways. Now, even though Tendo is the titular writer, I would argue he's not really the main character. That right belongs to Arata Kagami, who eventually becomes Kamen Rider Gatak. He's the one who actually undergoes a character arc and learns stuff from his experience. He's also the first one who learns Kabuto's identity and is actually like trying to work with him, but Tendo has so little personality and all this kind of bounces off of him. Now, I'm giving it a little bit more flack than it rightfully deserves. On the whole, Kabuto is very entertaining, but Kabuto was plagued with behind-the-scenes issues. They lost one of their lead actresses very early in filming after the series had already started airing. So out of nowhere, the character of Hiyori just disappears. And they don't really talk about her. And there's a lot of weird episodes, and I mean weird episodes where the story doesn't really advance in any meaningful sense, but like stuff happens, but I'm not sure you'd call it a plot so much as a series of events. They had a hard time keeping cast members. They had a hard time keeping a cogent plot, and so much weird stuff happens that honestly, Kabuto is a lot like a fever dream. Should you watch it? Yes. But be prepared to be a little bit more than confused by the time it's all said and done. So
it's okay. It is confusing, but the bits where it's cool are really cool.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned the battle in the rainstorm the first time that he actually goes clock. Oh. But there also the bit with the hypersector where literally he's like, I got it. In order to get hypersector, or it's like, it's in the future, and he just literally holds out his hand, and it's just there in his hand. It's like, which is funny, because they actually had this big battle running down the side of a skyscraper in order to try and catch it. It's so good. It is so good. Also, I mean, the clock up state is just so cool.
No, it is.
So.
It absolutely is. Kabuto is big on style. Honestly, the suits in Kabuto are some of the most fantastic we've seen. Maybe it's safe to say that Kabuto is big on substance and big on style and low on substance. Because like his hyper state, his like super form, basically steals the powers of every other rider except Gatak. So, like, it's hard to even really pass comment on that. Next in line was 2007's Kamen Rider Den-O. And
this is the one that I thought you would be like, this is the one, this is the problem child right here. And I don't even think it's Den-O's fault. I honestly think it's the fact that Toei realized, wait a second, little kids love the Taros.
So Den-O, I would say Den-O is a good series. Den-O was...
in a vacuum, ignoring everything else. It's a good series, yeah.
If you ignore some of the consequences of Den-O, Den-O is really, really good. They were like, hey, like, you know, it was a very dark period. Between Ryuki and Kabuto, there's a very high on-screen body count. There's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of friendships being ruined. There's a lot of backstabbing, like, very dark series. And they're like, what if, just this one time, we make it, like, almost a straight comedy? That's Kamen Rider Den-O.
Which is funny, because if you think about it for a second, the entire implication of the Imagine is like really, really dark.
Yeah, actually, some stuff in
There are
Den-O
these
is dark.
time-traveling genies that just show up to people who are depressed or sad or suicidal, and they're like, hey, what do you wish for? And if they give it to them, then it basically allows them to jump through time into a section of that person's time in order to basically make them even more depressed.
So,
and like twist the timeline.
Yeah.
It's awful. But it's a comedy series.
It's a comedy. It's played for comedy. The main character is Ryotaro Nogami, and he is a man cursed with comically bad luck. And he discovers the Imagine. And the Imagine are creatures who are born from the sands of time. The time is a physical place, and you can go there. And in Dino's world, there are people. I'm trying to remember the term they used for it. It was like it's people who are permanently displaced from time, and basically, like if someone goes back and changes history, that person in the present would actually not be affected because they are removed. Now, if a person with this quality goes through a door at very specific sets of time, where the clock, if you're looking at a digital clock, and the hour, minute, and seconds are the same number, that person can step through a door of time. So it was like 3 seconds and 3 minutes after 3 o'clock. And Ryotaro opens the door, he would enter into the sands of time. And so
it's literally just this endless desert, except there's this train that just goes through it.
Yep, several, actually. There's at least 4 trains that we're aware of that can travel through time. And he's picked up by the Den Liner. And aboard, he ends up getting the rider pass and becoming Deno, who basically becomes the police officer of these entities known as the Imagine. The Imagine are born from the sands of time, and they try to hunt down weak-willed people. And they put on basically the genie bit. It's like, no, I'll grant you a wish, and, in return, they will use that person as a gateway to go back in time and cause havoc so that they can try to build a future that suits what the Imagine wants the world to be like. Now, the thing is, Imagine are also kind of stupid.
Yeah, a lot of them are deliberately depicted after the Oni of fairy tales. Like, pretty much all of the 4 major Imagine are based off of Oni from various Japanese fairy tales. And they're all about as intelligent as Oni are.
So, the first one he meets, Ryotaro ends up naming Momotaros, after Momotaro the Peach Boy. Because he looks
literally
like
Aka Oni.
Yeah,
he's the red Oni.
He's the red Oni, and the whole thing is Ryotaro is also kind of stupid, and he can't think of anything to wish for. And Momotaros is just like, dude, you have to want something. Everyone wants something. So, let me, satisfy whatever wish you have in mind.
So he literally pilots Ryotaro's body, and he's got this red flash in his hair. You'll notice whenever Ryotaro, he gets possessed a lot, and so he has various different the character actor basically assumes different postures and aesthetics.
He'll get colored contacts and highlights in his hair and different clothes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And the entire thing with Momotaro's is that, he is a very hot-blooded fellow.
Yep.
His entire thing, he's very theatric. He shows up and, I have arrived. My entire life is a climax. I am here. And it's okay, bro, chill. You are at 11, you need to be at a 3 or a 4.
No, that's the thing. It's they use the English loanword climax. Make your top 10 of jokes now because the series doesn't ever stop. And his whole thing is I'm at my very best from the start to the finish.
The entire thing, the opening is climax heroes. So
climax jump. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the adult parodies, to write themselves, basically.
They do, but he's basically oh, I'm at my very best from the start to the end. There's no build up, there's no cool down. I'm just at my very best, and I always will be.
That's what she said.
Lol. So, the different Taros, Imagine, slowly gravitate to Ryotaro and become his different assistants. And he gets Momotaros, based on Momotaro, as said. He gets
the blue, who's
Urataro.
Is he the?
He's Urataro. He's based on Urashimataro.
Yeah.
Yep. Then the yellow is Kintaros, or Kintaro, the golden boy. The only one who breaks this trend is Ryotaros, who's just themed on a dragon. He's not actually themed on any one particular dragon, as far as I know. So there are some others, though. There's Sieg, who is based on the Ugly Duckling, as he has a swan motif. He is actually an Imagine who somehow inexplicably made a contract with a literal actual baby. And Sieg, like, apparently the context for it wasn't that the baby tried to make a wish, but that Sieg misunderstood some series of events and believed that they were, like, biological brothers. So he's like, oh, I have to protect him, because, like, he's my family, and family is the most important thing. You know, Ugly Duckling, again.
You know, which honestly, between him and Deneb, I mean, there's, you know, the Imagine might be kind of stupid, but, you know, there's some good eggs out there.
No, there are. Even though, like, they're very motley, but the Taros Imagine are genuinely nice guys, and even though they drive each other crazy, like, you can tell, because, like, the thing is, you might notice that I'm not really discussing a story. Den-O doesn't really have one. Like, they just have things that happen, and by the last fourth of the series, Toei was like, oh crap, we spent all this time having this goofy, fun, slapsticky comedy that we forgot to make a villain of any note. So they randomly introduce Kai, the Imagine King, and whatever you're imagining in your head right now is a million times cooler than what they actually did. Kai is just a dude. He's just a dude in a shirt and some pants. Like, that's it.
Oh, see, I was kind of imagining the ending of season 1 of Makai Night Garo, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's like, oh, no, they would never get away with machine gun boobies.
No, they wouldn't. For one, no, they wouldn't. Two, it's not that cool. Kai is just a dude, and he just wears kind of like slightly clashing colors. And his big character quirk is he doesn't understand how to emote. So, like, he'll be like, oh, I bet my face looks really angry right now. And his lackey Imagine are like, sir, you appear to be smiling right now. And
oh my god, it's literally the mermaid thing from Axe Cop?
Kind of, yes.
That's angry face. But I thought this was a happy face. No, that's a happy face. Oh, we've been doing it wrong for years. We're sorry.
That's his thing. And I don't even remember how they beat him because he left no impact on me. Now, I will say, the first Den-O movie, I'm Born, is actually really good. And they introduce Kamen Rider Gao, who has the Gao liner, the beast liner, the train that consumes time. And he has this very formidable presence, and they're so outmatched that Deneb just uses time shenanigans and kidnaps several copies of Ryotaro from across time in order to assemble a Sentai team of Den-Os in all of his various forms to fight Gao. So, like, that movie's really good. I like it a lot. Now, what I don't like is the fact that they didn't want to stop. They made 5 Den-O movies. 5. And they went on until Kamen Rider Decade. Like, every major cast member, except for the voice actors of the Imagine, had been replaced by that point. It kept going, and the thing is,
the main girl who was like, she wasn't even acting at that point anymore. I want to say they actually got like a child actress who's like, oh no, you've been de-aged. She's like, oh no, Ryotaro, you're gonna pay for this.
Yeah, and
I wish I were joking, but I am not.
So the next series, Kamen Rider Kiva, happens. And
well, you know, honestly, I feel like Kamen Rider Kiva kind of, they're like, crap, guys. They said that Den-O had no story. We're going to have 2 times the story now.
Yes.
All right, so here's the thing. Vampire hunters. Okay, that sounds cool. And
Don't worry, though. We're not going to involve him. No, that guy sounds really cool. No. We're not going to deal with him. Alucard. No, I want to hear about that first guy. No. No one cares about the first guy and his battle and his forbidden love with this vampire queen. No one cares about it. I care. No,
he's way better though. So we pick up in the year 2008 with Wataru Kurenai. And the whole thing, it turns out he is a member of this vampiric monster known as the Fangire. Now, that sounds a little bit familiar.
If anyone's wondering where, little Snek with Grandpa, Neo Fingers, it's literally a reference to Kamen Rider Kiva.
An actual thing in Kiva. So the thing is, the Fangire are this apex predator monster race. So much so that they've almost driven all the other monster races extinct. Because there's the Wolfen, the Franken, and the... What was the Fishman? I forgot what they're called. The last of the werewolves. Really? Yes.
I will freely admit, I thought they were Fangires too.
No, they're not. They're a werewolf.
Just goes to show me.
They're the werewolf, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and Frankenstein's monster.
Stock our supremacy.
And so... the whole thing is they're subservient to Wataru, and it's not really explained why till a bit later. But Wataru has this
The cynical amongst us may think that they are trying to basically do the Taros again, but you'd have to be extremely cynical for that.
No, they're not.
Really?
They're actually stone-faced most of the series. The werewolf is kind of the leader of those three, and he's kind of the one who keeps them in line. The creature from the Black Lagoon is kind of this little kid who's just like, oh yeah, I'm like way older than everyone else here. I just look young because that's how my species ages. That's his joke. The Frankenstein's monster...
Wasn't the werewolf the schoolgirl who she was constantly playing chess?
No.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You're thinking of someone else. The werewolf is actually played by the same actor who played Zanki in Hibiki. And he was like always dressed up like a gentleman and trying to like, everything is about honor, and if you make a promise, you fulfill that promise even if it kills you, kind of thing. And the Frankenstein guy is just like the big stiff who doesn't talk a whole lot.
Perhaps the same could be said of all Frankenstein's monsters.
Womp womp.
I'm not a big fan of the original novel either, by the way. So not a big love on my part.
It's fair. So... the whole thing is the Fangires are going around eating people. They are vampiric. They need to feed on other races.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So Wataru has this talking bat henshin bangle known as Kivat Bat III.
Can I just say that he is probably one of the most variable characters I have seen. There are some scenes with them that it's clear that they spent money on and like they actually use actual CGI. There's other scenes where it's like that's just a thing on a string.
That's a toy on a stick.
I can see the stick. I mean, it's not as like for Kiva, it's not so bad, but there are certain bits in Decade where it's like this is literally just on a stick. I can see the stick, guys. Come on.
I can see the stick, Becky.
Becky, I got the stick.
So,
Becky,
using Kivat.
Go bother Kuga. What?
So, using Kivat, Wataru can become Kamen Rider Kiva, who has the power to destroy other Fangire. And at the same time, we learn about the wonderful Blue Sky organization, who view all Fangire as a threat, including Kiva. They create...
understandable. They literally devour the flesh and blood of the living. So,
you can kind of understand where they're coming from. So they create Kamen Rider Ixa. And Ixa is so cool that he nearly eclipsed the main character so bad that they literally had to retroactively introduce a series of flaws into his character story so that people wouldn't think that Ixa was the main character.
He literally is basically a holy knight.
Yep.
So
a holy knight who punches people with the power of light. He is pretty cool.
He is. And he also is really good in the beat 'em ups too, by the way.
He is. He is, and even then, when he goes through his character arc, he still ends up way cooler than Wataru.
Why is he so gosh darn cool? No, guys, you should like Wataru. He's the vampire king.
No one cares. Speaking of not caring about Wataru, the story has a double story angle.
Does the story?
The story also goes back in time to 1986, where we meet Otoya Kurenai, Wataru's
If you're
father.
wondering why Taro no Taro was in maybe the far off year of 1985X,
Yeah, there you go.
now you know.
So Otoya Kurenai is a violin virtuoso, and he is a big personality. He steals every scene he's in. And honestly, the 1986 storyline is way cooler than the 2008 story.
Because it's literally him as this, like, suddenly he's a vampire hunter. Oops, now I have this, like, the vampire queen is got the hots for me. Oops, now her jilted, cuckolded husband is after me. And oh, by the way, he's got, it's literally a case of coughing baby versus nuclear bomb because he's got, Dark Kiva. Oh no. Oh, my lord, you are, the new prince of the vampires here. You're regular Kiva. Cool, I can fight this guy. No, except you can't because you're not actually a
You're not a
Fangire, so you're going to
Fangire,
die.
so this kills you. Yeah. Sorry for the spoilers. Kiva starts with such a cool idea. And then
probably could have parsed that from the fact that he's not around.
Yeah, he doesn't show up in the modern storyline. And the thing that kills me here, it started
Much
so
like Kiva,
good.
though.
It started so good. And they just, oh wait, Den-O is really popular. So like when Kamen Rider Kiva got its movie, because like at this point it's very consistently 2 seasons in a movie. That's what every writer was getting.
Mm-hmm.
Kiva, King of Hell's Castle, was their movie. The entire film is an advertisement for the next Den-O movie. King of Hell's Castle is completely irrelevant, and its events aren't even canon to the series, which some movies are like that.
You could argue Godspeed Love is, or theoretically could be. It's so weird.
Godspeed Love is a huge question mark because of chronology issues. Then you have ones like Hibiki, like the Seven Oni War, where it's like, maybe it's canon, maybe it's not, but it doesn't matter either way. Then you have ones like
Or
Blade,
Decades.
where
Or
Decade,
movie.
where you get 3 movies, and none of them are canon because there is no canon in Decade. So,
Yeah.
like, Kiva, like, the latter half of Kiva tries to just be Den-O 0.5, and it loses what little gravitas it might have had, and it just falls apart under its own weight. And all the things of Kiva that might have been cool were sapped of their coolness because of this. And it's such a huge loss because Kiva had the potential to be something amazing, and then it didn't happen.
TLDR, if you really want the true Kiva experience, just watch Makai Night Garo.
Yeah, no, that's actually a fair assessment.
I mean, I hate to say it, but, honestly, it's kind of funny, too, that, when Decade tries to do a quote-unquote Kiva arc, it literally sidesteps the entire thing.
Yeah. Actually, let's talk about that.
Wataru's a baby. He's a little baby boy. He's just a little guy.
So,
like, you're the lord of the vampires, and I just thought you'd be taller.
Just checking, In 2009, we got Kamen Rider Decade, the 10th
And he is the
Heisei
best
rider.
boy who did nothing wrong ever.
Decade has a photography motif, which is why his armor is magenta, which, according to Tsukasa, the Tsukasa Kodoya, magenta is a manly color and pink is a girly color, and they are not the same thing.
It should be said that his actor is like a huge Kamen Rider fan, and basically the only reason why he doesn't show up more is because Decade is not really popular.
Do you remember how I said Hibiki was a little bit divisive? Well, Decade was a lot divisive.
A bit divisive, which is funny because it's a really good stepping off point. Basically,
he is a dimension slider who can go into other dimensions easily.
Yep.
His entire thing is going to other dimensions and either solving issues or basically, for whatever reason, he is accused of issues and then he has to fix things.
So the thing is, because he's a photographer, as said, and when he tries to take pictures of worlds that he is not from, his camera turns out a blurry, messed up image. And he's like, well, if I'm being rejected by this world, which world did I come from? So he gets the Deca driver and becomes Decade and starts going through these worlds after he gets a message from Wataru. It's actually the adult actor who gets a last hurrah in an early episode of Decade. And he's like, hey, the multiverse is collapsing. You can move through worlds. You need to fix it.
Tsukasa, where's your Decade? My what? Your what? Big belt buckle. It looks like a camera. Why don't you have that? Why would I have a... Okay.
Why would I need a really big belt buckle?
I actually rewatched Decade episode 1 because it's on YouTube, and it's like, it is actually really funny because the actress, his sidekick, just like finds the Deca driver.
Natsumi, yes.
Yes, and she just finds it and is like, here, Tsukasa, and she throws it to him, and he just is like, he looks at it, and I can just imagine the wheels in his head being like, yes, this giant camera thing, it goes on my waist.
Obviously, it's a belt buckle. What else would it be?
Yeah. So, yeah. But I mean, he's my favorite. I can't say mad at Tsukasa. He's a good boy.
Decade then gets to travel through the prior 9 series. And each one is a abridged retelling of some of the themes and motifs.
That's a very generous way of describing these are alternate universes.
It's all alternate. Most of them are radically different departures. I think the one that stays the most in line with its original series was Kuga. Because he actually recruits Kuga. Kuga becomes his sidekick.
Yeah, Kuga is a secondary writer. Yeah.
Yep. Well, technically, D-End is the secondary writer, but D-End is a wild card, so he just kind of does whatever. The thing is
kind of the overarching villain, sort of, insofar as there really is any overarching villain in a anthology series.
Well, the explanation that we're given, the official word Toei has put down, is Decade's role is to complete other writers' stories. And if that involves him being a hero, then Decade will be a hero. If that involves Decade being the villain, then Decade becomes the villain. He is anything that the story needs. Like, literally. This is the meta explanation for Decade's role in the
God, he literally is the Phineas and Ferb zebra. I'm whatever you want me to be, Dave.
Yes, he is. And so he goes to these different worlds, and they're all retellings and alternate what-ifs, and they play with some concepts. Like, in Blade's world, a board is like this really stuck-up corporatocracy. And
it's actually a giant mega corporation, and the entire thing is like they get in, and Tsukasa is like mistaken for a member of the board of directors, and so he's given like a really cushy life. He's given like a huge mansion to live in, and meanwhile Natsumi and Joe, I want to say his name is Joe.
Oh, Kuga?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me scroll up. Let me check my cheat sheet.
Both of them are basically like
Yusuke.
The very, very bottom. Yeah, Yusuke. They're both at the very bottom of board's structure.
Yep.
And so they actually have to work their way up.
And like, one of the funniest thing is like Tsukasa cannot help himself. He is such a petty, passive-aggressive thug to everyone he meets. Like, there's a bit where Kinzaki, and the alternate version of Blade,
I wouldn't say he's a thug. He's just very, very smug and very, very... let's just say that, I will concede the fact that you say that there's a lot, you see a lot of him in me and vice versa.
So
I'll concede that.
Like, there's a bit where Kinzaki gets into an argument with a higher ranked member of board because Kinzaki wants to become the Ace of Spades so he can become Blade and fight to protect the world. But he's kind of stuck in this middle management role where like everything is bureaucracy and he keeps getting pigeonholed. And so he gets into this fight and the higher up demotes him and basically, essentially, like, fires him. And Kinzaki's like, well, this is your fault. What am I going to do now? And Tsukasa takes out a magic marker and writes 0 of spades on Kinzaki's card. And it's like, there you go. That's what you deserve. And Kinzaki is about to deck him. And Yusuke's like, wait. No, he's telling you to build up from the ground. And, like, start from 0 and work your way back up and become, like, the true ace of spades you're meant to be. And Tsukasa's like, oh, yeah, that's what I was trying to say, obviously.
I wasn't just openly mocking you because I don't need any of your silly, goofy, card writer goofiness. Yeah, right. Winky face. You just said winky face. Winky face again.
It is such a petty and passive-aggressive thing to do. I'm just like, yeah, that's Tsukasa. That's Tsukasa in a nutshell. And, like, I will say, I think Decade is a lot of fun. But this series, first off, it's short. It's 31 episodes. So, like, barely longer than Amazon. The problem is...
It doesn't really end.
It doesn't end, it stops.
It escalates up to a point, like, it actually turns out that, surprise, Hyper Shocker is actually the one behind all of the universes, like, collapsing. It wasn't Decade, except that Decade might be a Shocker executive, ?
Well,
but we don't know. And then the series ends.
The implication is that Decade was meant to be the successor to Shocker's Great Leader. And it's left very up in the air as whether that's true or not. And then they're like, oh, no, don't worry. There's a movie coming out. And the movie will solve everything. And spoiler alert, the movie solves nothing. In fact, it might make it more complicated. And then they're like, no, don't worry. There's another movie coming out. Oh, by the way, there's another Den-O movie coming out where new Den-O, it's not even the original Den-O, it's new Den-O, who teams up with D-End.
Finding the Neo-Fangires. That's nice.
That's great. New Den-O teams up with D-End. There's all this stuff. People actually tried to press a class action lawsuit for false advertising on Toei for how they handled Decade. It is one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. It's like, what's the canon ending? I can't tell you, because there's 3 different movies that offer 3 completely different and equally implausible solutions to the story.
Had an idea? I don't know. I mean, should I go into that now, Professor?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
My thought was because they've always kind of bring up, like, since the very beginning, there's like countless people that are like, oh, Honore Dekedo, how dare you, Decade? You are the reason why.
Yes.
Yeah, that just, well, yes. But it's not just him. It's just, there's constantly people that are like, Decade is literally he's like some kind of destroying angel that just comes out of nowhere, ruins worlds, and then just leaves. And so, honestly, I kind of was, hoping that they would do something akin to basically the Tsukasa that we're following around is actually a clone of the actual Great Leader. Some kind of like backup or some kind of potential like heir or something. But, so the actual guy who's going around ruining worlds isn't Tsukasa, it's the original Decade, and the Decade that we're following is basically just like, somebody with his same abilities, his same face, who kind of is learning, maybe I don't need to be, super evil, mega bad guy. Kind of you are not who you are born to be, you are what you make of yourself kind of thing. And I admit that's not a terribly original idea, but at least it's like something more than what we got.
Yes. There was the first Decade movie, and the basic explanation is, well, Decade's role was to destroy all the writers and become king of Dai Shocker. And then, like, it looks like he succeeds, And then he pulls an Uno reverse card, and he was like, ha, I was just punking you. I literally just sent the other riders into a pocket dimension so they could be on standby, so that now that I have them all brought together, I can now lead in a rider army. And it turns out the actual king of Daishocker was Shadow Moon, and he gets rider kicked by over 100 dudes and just gets punted into the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the other Decade movie where it turned out that Decade's presence caused instability and the other riders were destined to kill him, and he was acting out of, like, in part because of Shocker's brainwashing and in part out of self-preservation, and he was going around, like, killing the other riders, and it ends instead with, Daishocker showing up with this army of monsters, and then he's like, oh, like, Wall fooled you, I brought all the riders together again, and they go and have a big epic battle. And then there was another movie, because the next year, the Super Sentai team, Gokaiger, was basically Decade for Sentai, because Toei has no original ideas for Sentai. Anyway, so it's this big, the Sentai and the riders have to go to war, and only one of them can be left alive. And it turns out that was an Uno reverse card to set up all the monsters to join together so that all the riders and all the Sentai could team up and fight them. And you're seeing a bit of a theme here. That's just Decade in a nutshell. And, like, one of the really cool things, there was actually I got ahead of myself, the first Decade movie had a teaser, a call forward to Kamen Rider Double. And the joke is, Decade is squaring off with Shadow Moon, and Double pulls up on his motorcycle so that he's kind of, like, perpendicular between them. And Shadow Moon's like, oh, a black Kamen Rider. And Decade's like, black? He's green. Are you blind? And Double's like, oh, well, it's a matter of perspective. It doesn't matter.
And the funny thing is he's not even black. He's purple.
I was about to say it's black and purple. It's both.
And that's only one of his forms, Cyclone Joker.
Yep. And
although, admittedly, that is one of... Honestly, I think the cool thing about the beat-em-ups that have Double is the fact that they allow you to mix and match the different sides.
Yep.
Because of the way that Double works.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I know this is one of your favorites, that and
actually,
Drive.
We've been going for 2 hours, so let's put a pin in this. We will return to this and pick up from where we left off. But for now, we don't want this episode to get overly long. But there are many, many, many riders to go. We are at, like, the 2/3 mark.
We are 10 years into the Heisei era. There's another 10, and then there's, like, 5 after that.
Yeah.
We have a ways to go.
We do, and I'm not caught up on a lot of the new ones. In Reiwa, the only one I've seen is Saber. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, I guess you better get on that then, Professor. I guess you're going to lose your... Oh, wait, no, your doctorate's in monster-raising studies.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Are you gonna get a double doctorate? You're gonna get a doctorate in Tokusatsu.
Tokusatsu and monster raising? That's an option, isn't it?
You know what? You do the next one. I will give you your additional title. I'll add it to your Discord title.
Okay, that's fair. I will. I'll make it a point to brush up. I can just from Ghost going forward. I need to catch up.
That means you're gonna have to watch Gaim Professor, which I actually hear is actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, I've heard good things. We'll report back. This has been Dutaku and the Hipster Snek, bringing for you 2 hours of tokusatsu deliciousness and more promised in the near future. So thank you for joining me there, Master Dutaku.
My pleasure. I'm just ashamed that we don't have Cog here with us. Honestly, he is like a gigantic Kamen Rider nerd.
That is true. It is a little bit of a disappointment, but life's got to go. Anyway, This has been the Tomodachi Bros with another episode of the Tomodachi Bros podcast season 4. Please like, comment, subscribe, and all that other good stuff if you are still listening. Anyway, we are going to see you guys in the next one.
So, count up your sins.